Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Did I get a roll call?
Mr. Cook?
Nice.
Mr. Rogan?
Here.
Mr. Dendriano?
Here.
Ms. Smith?
Here.
Supervisor Williams?
Here. First on tonight's agenda is a presentation by Molly Franco and Kristen McConnell concerning the licensing of tobacco products, I believe. Ladies?
Sorry, not as tall as that. Good evening. I'm Kristen McConnell from the Prevention Council of Putnam. I'm also a resident in the town of Patterson and have two children that go to Carmel schools. And we're here to talk about some of the concerns we have about vaping and smoke shops, specifically in the town of Patterson. And I will submit this for the record after if you'd like, and then I will introduce my colleague Molly Franco from Power Against Tobacco. So for those of you that may not be familiar, the Drug Enforcement Administration defines vaping as the act of inhaling or exhaling an aerosol or vape made from a liquid or dry material that is heated in an electronic powered device called an electronic cigarette or e-cigarette. The liquid can contain flavoring, nicotine, or marijuana concentrates. Preventing vaping among youth is critical to ending the tobacco epidemic in this country. The Surgeon General urges that youth use of nicotine in any form, including e-cigarettes, is unsafe. Nicotine is a highly addictive drug and can harm adolescent brain development, particularly the parts of the brain responsible for attention, memory, and learning. The Surgeon General also found that using nicotine in adolescents may increase for future addiction to other drugs. The potency of nicotine in vape products vary, but there are many nicotine concentrates that can be as potent as 50 milligrams or 5% nicotine. Most of us are already familiar with this information that I've shared tonight, but what may be new is despite the amazing educational campaigns and evidence-based prevention programs in our schools, youth vape use is on the rise. According to the Prevention Needs Assessment Youth Survey conducted in Putnam County schools, nearly 1 in 4 12th graders reported vaping in the last 30 days, and that was in 2022. Additionally, we have emerging information about high-potency nicotine products use resulting in seizure-like disorders in children who have no prior symptoms, no risk factors, and no family history of seizure disorders. These symptoms have been reported to us by our local school administrators here in Putnam County. The Prevention Council works collaboratively with local school districts. We constantly hear from school administrators who are overwhelmed with student vaping in schools. Another concerning trend we are seeing is youth vaping high-potency THC products, as well as Delta-8 and Delta-9 and other synthetically derived compounds just like THC are addictive, intoxicating, and psychoactive. These dangerous products are marketed to youth using fun flavors and are sold in accessible locations like gas stations, delis, and smoke shops. Although you must be 21 to purchase vape products in New York, most local and national data show us that children are gaining access to these products, and more so where there are higher density to vape retailers. The Prevention Council uses environmental prevention strategies approach to prevention, which recognizes that there is a constant interplay between the environment and the individuals. Health behaviors, choices, and perceptions are all impacted by where we live and determine the level of risk individuals and communities experience. Strategies such as reducing access and availability of vape products harness the ability to shape an individual's behavior by structuring what is expected or permitted in a specific environment in a positive way. Youth vaping is a public health epidemic in this community, and we all play a crucial role in preventing the next generation of young people from ever trying vaping and potentially saving thousands of lives here in Putnam County. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit and ask Molly to come up, and she has slides which were submitted, and Molly will go into a little more detail about what we could possibly do in Patterson to prevent some of the things that I discussed from occurring. So thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Ooh, might be even a little bit shorter than Kristen. Thank you all for inviting me here tonight and allowing me the time to speak. I do have slides. Sorry, I would have printed you all at once too, but I don't have that much ink. So my name is Molly Franco. I serve as the Community Engagement Coordinator for Power Against Tobacco. Power stands for Putnam, Orange, Westchester, and Rockland, which are all of the counties that we serve. We're a grantee of the state's Advancing Tobacco-Free Communities program, and we're housed out of the American Lung Association. Our broader mission is to work to protect the health of all people through tobacco control policy, advocacy, and education. And our bottom line is that we believe everyone has the right to breathe clean, smoke-free air where they live, work, play, and shop. We work on a range of issues from youth activism to smoke-free movies and media, smoke-free multi-unit housing, tobacco-free work sites, and educating local governments on their ability to enact tobacco-free parks and municipal spaces laws and laws regulating the marketing and sale of tobacco products in their communities. A primary concern of local governments should be advancing the health of their constituents and those that work and visit the community. Commercial tobacco is an unreasonably dangerous product that addicts its users and causes premature death in up to half of those who use it as directed. In communities across New York State, we are seeing more and more smoke and vape shops open on top of the existing tobacco sellers like delis, convenience stores, gas stations, and grocery stores. We've resigned ourselves to the inevitability that stores will open and that there's nothing we can do except wait for them to sell to a minor or violate a fire code. This is not the reality. Local governments can limit the tobacco industry's control of community environments through evidence-based interventions. Across the state, towns and cities and even counties are enacting policies that limit the sale of flavored products and reduce the density of retailers, lessening the industry's influence and fostering a healthier community for all residents. Today, I'm going to outline some of the options the town of Patterson can examine and take further steps to protect Patterson's youth and families. Now we get to the first part of the slides. Retail availability of tobacco. So we're going to talk about how increased retail availability of tobacco products can impact a given community. So tobacco use is a socially learned and mediated behavior. The ubiquitous presence of tobacco retailers gives the impression that tobacco is available, accessible, and welcomed. Secondly, in 2022, the industry spent $8.3 billion to advertise and promote their products in the retail environment. They do this because increasing exposure to industry point of sale advertising, marketing, and promotion works. The more retailers you have, the more you're going to be exposed. Search costs are the time, energy, and money that buyers and sellers in a market expend in trying to engage in a transaction. An increased density of retailers can reduce search costs, leading to a host of other outcomes, like an increase in smoking rates and reductions of quit attempts. Tobacco control is also a social justice issue. We know that retail density is higher in lower income and minority communities, fueling disparities in tobacco use and its associated health effects. Increases brand recognition, especially among youth, which increases the odds of smoking. So on that slide, I actually have a picture of a tobacco carton, but there's no brand on it, but I think you can all tell what brand of cigarette it is just by looking at the box. It's a Newport. You might not have never smoked a Newport, but you just know that because you've seen it a million times in that color and that packaging. And then lastly, it encourages impulse purchases of tobacco products, cues cravings, and undermines quit attempts. So imagine walking to into a grocery store, going to buy a Gatorade or some dinner for your family, and you just quit tobacco 3 days ago. You're really struggling, and there they are right in front of you. So next up, on the next slide, I have an infographic from Counter Tools that outlines the various ways that the tobacco retail landscape can be adjusted in a given community. You can cap the number of retailers in a geographic area. So you can only have 50. You can only have 4, really depends on the community. You can cap the number of retailers relative to the population size. So there can be no more than 1 tobacco retailer per 1,000 residents. You can require a minimum distance between retailers. This one's, really important in urban spaces where you'll have, multiple tobacco and vape sellers on the same street. You can prohibit retailers from locating near schools and other youth-sensitive areas. So that's not something that we have. That's something that a town needs to implement in order for it to be effective. Right now in New York State, the only thing that's really barred from being near schools is advertising, but not necessarily the sale of these products. And then also prohibiting sales of tobacco products at pharmacies or other retailers, which is something that we do in New York. We banned the sale of tobacco in pharmacies a few years ago. So in summary, interventions can limit the number of the tobacco outlets, the locations of the tobacco outlets, the types of outlets that are authorized to sell, and the availability of certain products such as flavored products. So how do you do this? Licensing zone and zoning laws are two long accepted methods governments may use to accomplish the goals outlined in the last slide. And I'm sure you're all familiar with both of these terms, licensing and zoning, but I think it's good to take a time to go over what they mean with respect to tobacco control. So licensing is typically a way that to regulate a business or business professional working in a certain field, and the license grants rights to the person who holds it, whereas zoning is a way to regulate the use of property, and it's attached to the land, not the person. So moving on to licensing and more specifics, tobacco retail licensing, it's otherwise known as TRL, you might see that acronym, at the local level requires that the city or the county issues businesses, new and existing, a license before they are allowed to sell tobacco products. And it can be a great tool to monitor the sale of tobacco and nicotine products. So it gives the local government the authority to require that retailers obtain this license. You can put conditions on that license that the retailers have to meet. So things like the location, the number of stores, the product sold. Retailers who do not comply can face fines and other consequences, including having their privilege to sell tobacco products suspended or revoked. And through a local license, a government may set consequences for violation of federal, state, or local law by stores in their communities. And then with the licensing fees that you would collect, that can be used to fund implementation and enforcement of the tobacco retailing licensing system, because I know that's usually an issue is enforcement. How are we going to pay for this? You just use those fees to go back into that system. Next up, I have an example of a tobacco retail licensing law that is in effect. It's in the city of Newburgh in Orange County. It's actually where I'm from. They have what is considered to be a very comprehensive licensing ordinance. So in 2015, the city imposed a local licensing requirement for retailers selling cigarettes, cigars, e-cigarettes, and other tobacco-related products. So it's not just your smoke shop or your vape shops that are becoming really popular. It's your bodegas, your delis, your convenience stores as well. Eligibility is determined by the city clerk, and violations are enforced by the police department, and the fire department is permitted to inspect. Whereas before, without that local license, that responsibility is being all on the health department, on the county health department, which is burdening them. But this is allowing you to kind of take those matters into your own hands. It doesn't have to be the police department, but that's just the example here. If owners refuse an inspection, the city can get a search warrant, which you currently can't do. You actually can't inspect tobacco retailers on the grounds of their tobacco licensing. You can't do that. They can deny a search. It bans tobacco sales within 1,000 feet of a school's property line. And lastly, and this one's pretty important to reducing the overall number of stores, it reduces the number of outlets by issuing only one new license for every 2 non-renewed or revoked. So you're slowly chipping away the number of tobacco retailers in a given area. So that's something that the city of Newburgh did. I think I have that given to you guys, and I can also email it as well, that ordinance. They're also currently going over it, I think, to kind of figure out where marijuana fits into that. It's not something I'm going to be touching on, but in the future, maybe that can be explored. Next up is zoning. Zoning laws govern the physical nature of the building and the ways the buildings are used in a particular area. They divide cities into different areas and limit the kinds of uses that are allowed in those areas. Conditional use permits give lawmakers the ability to decide what is permitted and what is prohibited in a zone. And zoning ordinances are generally used to keep incompatible uses of land apart from one another. And when used in conjunction with a conditional use permit, zoning can accomplish results that are very similar to the licensing results that I just outlined. It's the primary way that governments can shape a community's land and therefore shaping your community in general. And it grants the ability to establish density or proximity restrictions. So similar to that previous one. But I have another attached example, and this is done through zoning code in the village of Lowville, which I believe is in Lewis County, a bit more recent in 2021. Smoke shops and tobacco stores are relegated to the auto commercial zone and must obtain a special use permit. And it requires that tobacco store shall not be located within 1,500 feet from a school, public or private, not only just a school, but a family daycare home, a childcare facility, a youth center, a community center, a recreational facility, a park, a church, or religious institution, a hospital, or basically anywhere where a child is gathering in that community. A smoke and a vape shop and tobacco store cannot be located within 500 feet from another one. So it's reducing density, in those really populous areas. And it also requires that they must post clear signage. which then the town can then enforce if that's not happening. Only one smoke shop and tobacco store is allowed at a time per 3,000 village residents. I think the population of Lowville sits just above 3,000. So that basically means they can only have one. So those are a few of the various options. I'm not going to instruct you on which one you should do. Obviously, when you're looking at benefits, you want to look at what is the most comprehensive policy and then kind of see where that fits in with your community. I'm not allowed to specifically advocate or lobby for any specific one policy, but these are I just wanted to present you with all of the options besides licensing as well, or is also zoning. Licensing, I do find, can allow you to customize a little bit better though. So I will say that. And then on the last slide, you just have my contact information. I also have my card attached for you, and I can provide other model policies, sample policies from towns with similar demographics and goals. We provide technical assistance, and we can also connect you with the Public Health Law Center, which they provide an even better free service with actual attorneys who can go over policies with you to make sure that they are legally sound. That's it. Hopefully I didn't take too long or speak too fast.
No, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Molly and Kristen for bringing this up to us. Clearly with the incident that happened where we ended up with a smoke shop, which was right across from a daycare center, we recognize that we need to change some of our policies and practices in doing that. We're gonna have to take a hard look at how we're gonna do that. Molly, I've got a question for you though. Are you aware of any communities that have actually outlawed tobacco sales within their whole community?
Not tobacco sales. I've seen, public use of tobacco. I've definitely seen that. I think the village of Scarsdale actually says that they can't use it on any public space, but I haven't seen any towns that actually outlaw the sale of tobacco, not under my knowledge. That'd be pretty radical change. That's also something to consider is the grandfathering in of retail stores. That's something that is usually considered in the making of these policies because you don't want to upset the current store owners that are already existent. I've never seen that, but I will definitely look into it.
Yeah, I'm just, and I agree, that's very radical. Unfortunately, there are still people who believe that smoking is a good habit.
Yeah.
But I'm concerned about, the density requirements and how restrictive we can be.
Right.
Yeah. And not being subject to challenge.
Yeah, I think that's the balance with public health is you're kind of infringing on civil liberties and, it's kind of a weird balance you have to take. But I think it's important that you take action on this now before it becomes an even greater issue because it's going to be harder to enact something later when there's more shops. Not saying that, the town is going to be inundated with 1 million smoke shops, but you never know. So it's important to act on this ahead of time before you have 20 that now need to be grandfathered in. So something to think about.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
In fairness, though, I believe it was the town of Carmel that had so many shops that were being put in that they put a moratorium on it.
Yes, they did.
To be
When
able
it,
to look because
yeah,
they were popping up all over the
yeah,
place.
and unfortunately that moratorium lapsed. So that
Yes.
often happens where towns put in a moratorium, for 6 months, say that they're going to really work on the issue. But then there are really no permanent solutions being made. So unfortunate.
I like the example that you gave for Newburgh and having the police department directly involved with enforcement. Obviously, we don't have our own police department in Patterson. We would have to work with obviously the sheriff's department or the state police. But I will tell you that there has been a push at the state level to move enforcement of this away from local health departments specific to vape because the enforcement has been a nightmare.
Right.
The police department don't really want to be involved in this, but the tobacco shops are turning into a front for a lot of illegal drug sales. And in my own experience, because I'm the enforcement officer for the county health department, finding people isn't working.
Right.
We're finding people more money than I've ever seen in my career, $10,000-$20,000.
They make more money off
they're making more money
the
off of
products
it.
than they do. It's
Yeah.
not worth the challenge to.
And we've
just
had
pay the fine.
problems all across, including in Patterson. We have cases going on right now. And so I like the idea of the police getting involved because we're sending people into dangerous situations. Some of these smoke shops are turning into, like I said, marijuana sales. And the police have said, marijuana is legal now. So it's really just a licensing violation. It's not an illegal product. It's just that they don't have a license to be selling it.
Mhm.
So it puts everybody in a real, predicament. And the money that's being made out of these shops is worth it for them to break the rules. So
Absolutely.
I like that idea because they, you know, just like the Office of Cannabis Management, when they go into doing enforcement, they're going in because they're peace officers, they're wearing vests and they've got protection and they're going in, and then here we are sending in like a health inspector with many cases with a minor to do compliance checks.
Right, yeah,
And it's not as safe as it once was. And so
for sure.
thank you for your
Yeah, no
information.
worries. Any other questions? You
No,
can always
thank you.
follow up with me as well, so.
Any questions from the public
Yeah,
joining us here
sure.
from tonight?
Sorry you guys didn't have the slides. They're really good.
Nice to be a screen on the wall or something.
All right, thank you.
All right,
all.
thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you have, I emailed them to you, so you could, if anyone wants them, you can share them with them.
Absolutely. We can put it up on our
Yeah.
website. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, can I get a motion on the reports?
Make a motion to approve the following reports to code compliance for October 2023, code enforcement for October 23, dog control officer, September 23, Patterson Fire Department, July 1st, 2023 to September 30th, 2023, and the Patterson Recreation, October 23. So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion on the supervisor's report?
I'll move to approve the supervisor's report for September 2023 in the amount of $12,211,437.99. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion on the minutes?
I'll make a motion. We approve the town board meeting minutes of September 27th, October 11th, 2023, and the public hearing for the special assessment roll of October 11th, 2023. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We up to the minutes?
Order the bills.
Can we,
Yes, sorry. I'll make a motion to approve abstract number 20 dated October 27, 2023, in the amount of $390,454.34. So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We have a couple of budget transfers.
Oh, we do. We have budget transfer request number 30. And this is to reallocate funds to the highway machinery, equipment and capital outlay account to purchase a small dump truck with plow. And we will be decreasing the snow removal contractual expense accounts by $76,292 and increasing machinery, equipment and capital outlay expense accounts by $76,292. I'll make a motion to town board approve budget transfer request number 30. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Budget transfer request number 31 to allocate additional funds for the HR consultant costs to other contractual account. And this is moving $2,000 from contingent contractual expense accounts to other contractual expense accounts in the amount of $2,000. I'll make a motion for the town board to approve budget transfer request number 31. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Budget transfer request number 32. And this is to allocate additional funds to the highway and sanitation, hospital and medical insurance, and CSEA dental and vision benefit. And we will be decreasing the state retirement account by $12,800 and decreasing the state retirement expense account by $7,500. And then we will be increasing the hospital and medical insurance account $10,000, increasing the CSEA dental and vision account $2,800, and increasing hospital and medical insurance expense accounts $7,500. So I'll make a motion to town board approve budget transfer request number 32. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have budget transfer adjustment request number 33. And this is to allocate additional funds to the justices and ambulance personnel accounts for approved personnel changes and adjustments to the assessors, but, and I think there's adjustment to the assessors medical buyout account. So we will be increasing fines and forfeitures account, 15,000. Increasing ambulance charges revenue accounts, 20,000. Increasing justices personnel services, 15,000. Increasing ambulance personnel services, 20,000. Increasing assessors medical buyout, $4,500, and decreasing hospital and medical insurance expense accounts, $4,500. I'll make a motion that the town board approve budget transfer request number 33. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, first on my agenda, we've received a project update on the Dorset Hollow Water District expansion. This is report number 3. If you go down through it, you can see we are coming very close to having a final design for Front Street. I have been having conversations with the consultant who is been retained by the town to prepare the design. And I am hopeful that at the next meeting, we will have the map planner report and be able to start the process for actually expanding the district. So does anybody have any questions on?
These are reports that are due from the Department of Health.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
It's a
Submission. So we did drill the new, well, we don't have to drill the new well. We actually tested the 2 existing wells and found that the yields were sufficient.
Okay, so before we can finalize anything, we got to get the reports from the DOH, Putnam County DOH.
No,
And the DOT.
well, we have to get permits from the DOT.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we have to get approval from the health department,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, next is the final budget. I direct everybody's attention to the sheet that you have here. On proposed changes to the preliminary budget. I will go down through them very quickly. So the first one is in going through and taking another look at the preliminary budget. It was pointed out to us that we somehow omitted any training for the receiver of taxes. So we've added that back in. The change to the preliminary budget is $1,300. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the change to the assessors line 1330450 to add one. What? Receiver of taxes, I'm sorry. To add $1,300 to that line and then decrease the contingency line 1990400 by $1,300. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the next is going to take a little bit of discussion. The EMS administrator has made a request that we reduce his salary by $1,546 and actually add that to the assistant EMS administrator, $1,546. And there is no change to the budget if we make that change. However, I'm not so comfortable with doing that, and my recommendation would be that we take it out of fund balance. We don't change the EMS administrator's salary, but we just add $1,546 from fund balance to the assistant EMS administrator. Anybody have any questions
Okay.
on that?
I agree. It's a nice notion that the supervisor said, take my increase and give it to my staff, but I think they're both deserving.
Anyone else?
Three.
Commendable.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve the change to the EMS administrator. Well, assistant administrator's salary as heretofore stated. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
So just to be clear, then the third item, the EMS administrator, that one we're actually not, it's not approved, correct? But the fourth,
Yes.
yeah, so.
Yes,
I'm
correct.
just kind of keeping track.
Yep. And the last one, I'll let Trish talk about a little bit, but the bulk of this has to do with the addition of a 13th individual down at Highway. And that amount is $122,652, accounting for all the benefits, and we're proposing to take that out of fund balance, so there would be no change to the taxes. Trish,
That's
you want to?
the highway fund balance.
Highway fund balance, yes. You want to run down through the? You want me to run down through the rest of the?
Oh, sure.
Sure. So we had a couple, retirees going through the highway. So I adjusted for those, and that's the first two lines. And then the third line is the new position. Fourth line is the longevity of those two that were retiring. Overtime and vacation buyout and snow overtime for the new individual. And then the last 7 lines are the employee benefits, MTA taxes, retirement, social security, Medicare, worker comp, hospital, and CSEA dental. And then the balance, all of that would be paid out of the fund balance.
Anybody have any questions?
This is shifting monies around because some folks retired and some folks are getting hired, and
When we
so,
hiring and the additional to help out
yeah,
the overlap, so.
yeah.
And I think that we were all clear on that when we had the discussion. We're all in agreement.
No change to the, what is it, 1.3 tax increase?
It's not
Oh.
gonna change the taxes at all, because it's all coming from fund balance from highway.
Does anybody have anything else they wish to bring up at this time regarding the final budget?
All of the,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we do need to vote on the, because we voted on the others. I'd like to make a motion to amend the highway budget as stated on the worksheet. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
okay, but with one quick question.
Yes.
All of this up and downs are in the
No.
United.
No, sir.
Wait, what was this question? What was the note for?
So the numbers in the resolution that you have in front of you need to be adjusted.
I can adjust it. You want me to adjust it?
Okay.
I ran it. Yeah,
All right,
All right, so the highway number needs to be adjusted by $1,546.
no,
I mean, the
General.
general fund needs to be adjusted by $1,546. And the highway needs to be increased to $4,250,217.
317. 317, because I found that 100.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Can you say that number one more time, the final number? For the
$4,250,317. That's right. I forgot. You gave me the worksheet just before we walked in.
So.
And the general fund is being increased by $1,546. Good. All right. With that, with those changes reflected in this resolution, I'd like to make a motion to introduce the adoption of the final budget for 2024 and ask that it be entered into the record as read. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No,
Any- Pete said no?
no.
Okay. Mary?
Aye.
Okay. Last on my agenda is a request by a property owner for a licensing agreement. I believe you all have this sketch in front of you.
Yep.
All right, anybody have any questions about what's going on here?
Yeah, who's paying for the wall?
They are.
Yep.
All right. So this is a licensing agreement to allow a retaining wall and parking area that will be located at 124 Lakeshore Drive. We do have a recommendation from the highway superintendent, acting highway superintendent, soon to be the highway superintendent. Recommending that we approve this. And so I would like to make a motion to approve this licensing agreement between the town of Patterson and the owner of 124 Lakeshore Drive to allow for that parking area and retaining wall, subject to approval of the building inspector on the design of the retaining wall. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Obviously, you've looked at this.
Yes,
Okay.
I made a couple of changes, nothing that was subsequent to the nature of it, just to clarify something.
Aye.
Okay, Mary?
So the first item on my agenda is the Putnam Lake weed mats. We have a bill here for the removal of, and I can't make out the handwriting.
Benthic barrier diver assisted.
Okay, thank you. So we're purchasing 9 pieces of rebar for each.
No, what this is the bill for $4,050 for the mats having been removed from Warren Beach.
At 18 of them at $225
Yes,
piece. Mhm. Give me 1 second. Okay, I see, this is the original email. Okay.
so you want me to give you some background on this?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Be nice.
I'd be happy to. So if you recall, last year, they had approached us about buying and installing 9 mats for Jackson Beach. It was actually on your agenda. And we had a conversation and it was agreed by the board that we would buy, instead of the 9 mats and having them installed last year, that we would buy 18 mats, 9 for Jackson and 9 for Warren.
Yeah, I
And then,
recall it. So they have to remove them?
so, and they have to put them in and take them out every year, and we were
Mhm.
aware of that at the time.
Okay.
What I wasn't aware of, based on our conversations, is we were buying 9 mats for Jackson and 9 mats for Warren, not that all 18 mats would go in on Warren. And then, cost us $4,000 every time we took them out and every time we put them in. And so Laura apparently had them taken out for $4,000 this year. And we need to pay the bill.
Okay.
But I will tell you this, I will not be approving any reinstallation of these mats at $4,000.
So were they effective? Do we know? Do we have any feedback on them?
It was a bad year this year because we didn't put the algicide in the lake, and the lake, with the weather of the lake, the algae was very prevalent, so beaches weren't open.
Mhm. All right. So I'll make a motion to approve the amount of $4,050 to remove the 18 Bethic barriers, diver assisted weed mats from the Putnam Lake. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
And I just ask going forward in the future, if we can have a little bit more information instead of on items, instead of just a voucher, invoices and estimates, like a little reason why, what it's about or what it's for.
Absolutely, I would be happy to, but I would also say this, that in the future, we're not. If somebody's gonna spend $4,000, they need to get the board's approval before it gets spent.
That has nothing to do with what I asked for. I asked if we can have some justification on what these things are, at least a brief description of what we're looking at, instead of finding out the night of the meeting and then having a discussion where we could have asked some people who were involved in this and looked into a little bit more. So that's.
Understood.
Thank you.
All right, snow bids. So, I see we have a, response from Mr. Vincent Murray regarding our last tabling of the snow bids for these snow removal coming up. And then another response from Dennis Mays. So we are now at another discussion. I happen to, appreciate Dennis's additional email, outlining exactly what his issues were. I know he said that he had originally, last meeting, said that he had documented 17 times that he had tried to reach out and speak to this company, and, Mr. Murphy got back with us, advising us that I guess his complaints were regarding an area that wasn't included in the bid to be maintaining, and that he's been doing it himself. That I just want to, point out that I have a little issue with, because I don't think he should be mowing what's not included in the bid, because it's really, a safety issue. It's liability for us. I'm sure you probably agree with that, Jamie. But, Dennis is saying here really that's a lack of communication, and he's pointed out that if we go with, Maypac Landscaping, that the difference should only be $1,400 from last year's contract, unless you have other information. I looked at the numbers and, it's pretty close, maybe short 100 or two. It might be more. I'd like to go with Dennis's recommendation, and I hope the rest of you agree, that we use Lake Maypac Landscaping and Lawn Care and see where we are. And, he says they come recommended. He spoke with the town of Carmel. I guess they've been using them.
I understand. If
you
you're gonna
have
make
any-
if you're gonna make a motion to approve, then in that motion, you're going to have to. Also include why you're rejecting the other two bidders.
Yes, I know, because it's higher.
Because I think the concern is, we should be going with the lowest responsible bidder. So if we have concerns about Colonial's responsibility, that's documented. Then that, of course, we can document that, but the issue would be if there's concerns about 845, the next lowest bidder.
Right, which is what you raised
Which is what I raised the
at
last
the last
time.
meeting.
Jamie, can I also ask a question? The concerns seem to be about lawn mowing, but we're talking about snow bids. Does that have any bearing that they're two separate contracts?
They are two separate contracts, but they are the same contractor. So if
So
you
it's a
have,
performance issue.
yes.
They're not saying they don't know how to plow or to mow, but it's the communication
Mhm.
more that's the issue,
Right.
right? Okay. Want to make sure we weren't considering taking an action for one type of bid and using it to hold or do something against a different type of bid. That's all.
No, I think Dennis's original complaint was the non-response from the vendor, and then his counter email back to explain. In his explanations, he was explaining that these incidents he's claims occurred with the lawn mowing. So do you want to raise issue with 845, or? I don't have any information on 845.
So 845, I don't believe has ever taken the snow bids. However, they have taken the lawn bids and I think they performed fine. Better than fine.
Okay. That wasn't what you said last time. You said you had issues, but no major issues.
No, that was 845.
Yeah, the last meeting, I said, well, they were the lowest bidder. We were going to go with them, but you said we've also had issues with that. Did Dennis raise any issues with 845? We've used them before? You said
Yes,
we have,
yeah.
okay. So then we'll go with 845. If you all agree, I'll make a motion to approve 845 in the amount of $13,500 for the time frame of December 10th, 2023 through March 16th, 2024. And for each additional storm event from 23-24 season occurring before December 10th, 2023 or after March 16th, 2024 in the amount of $1,200 in response to complaints and dissatisfactory performances from Mr. Dennis Mays will be taking the second lowest bidder, 845. So moved. I don't know if I got
Second?
Well, I guess we.
Second, but with a comment, I appreciate what Mary's saying. That the correspondence between our building guy, maintenance guy, and Colonial is all on landscaping. I thought of this before, and that again, we're talking about snow removal. And honestly, I don't think you can say, well, because there's this dispute between the two on landscaping, that transfers over to snow removal. I think that Mr. Murphy, we now have his attention on what's going on here. So I almost think we have to stick with Murphy, Colonial.
Well, like we just talked about, it's not the performance of them removing the snow or the actual not doing a good job mowing lawns. It's the communication issues, the issues with Mr. Mays, our building and grounds guy and that company. So, you know, I don't think it's an issue with, I think that would cover, like I thought we just said, that would cover both contracts.
Would you like me to read Mr. May's email dated October 20th? You will have it.
I'll let these guys talk first.
All right, so listen, I'll chime in here. If we were talking about the lawn bids next year, then I think that there's merit that we need to reconsider, you know, who's getting our lawn bids. But, you know, Mr. Murphy has been doing the sidewalks in the hamlet now and town hall and around the rec center. For many years now, we've had some difficulties with making sure that he gets around West Street. But at the end of the day, he's been doing, you know, a fairly good job, you know, getting the snow removed from the sidewalks. And he's done that in some very challenging conditions. So again, I don't have a problem with Mr. Murphy and Colonial Town doing the snow bids this year. When it gets down to the lawn bids, you know, I think that's a different subject.
And also to Charlie's point, where we got his attention and, you know, maybe we'll give him another chance. I recall that this issue has been in past years, not just this year or this past year. It's been ongoing. I remember Mr. Mays complaining about this a few years ago about having issues with the landscaper.
And he has. And for
So I don't know when
whatever
we're gonna get his
reason,
attention.
you know, if I call him, I get a phone call right back. If Dennis calls him, not so much.
Yeah, and Dennis is the one that has to, you know.
Yeah, he's the one that should be taking lead on all this.
What's the involvement of Dennis in the winter time with the contact? I mean, I'm curious why Dennis has to be calling him at all. Once he gets the contract, he's obviously calling him because he has either something's not getting done, right?
Something's not getting done.
So that's obviously a concern. But if it comes to the snow removal, I get the whole point. If it seems like this communication issue is carrying over to the totality of the relationship, which is a problem. Somebody's doing the work and they just have to communicate better with this office, then that's frustrating. That's frustrating. And Dennis shouldn't have to deal with that. There's enough, work that he has to do in trying to track people down, but yeah, it's difficult.
Anyone else?
There's a resolution here.
There's a resolution right now. We have a second. All in favor?
What, can you restate that motion?
Sure.
Is it,
It was in a favor for 845. You want the numbers again?
no, it's fine. It's
Okay.
making sure, yeah,
The second lowest bidder.
for snow removal.
Yes, and Mary had stated that because of the responsibility issue of
Mhm.
members.
We're all good?
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? None are opposed.
Charlie, did you vote?
Oh, I mean. I'll go with it. I'm a little concerned that it's landscaping versus snow removal, okay? But I could go with 845.
That would be a yes.
Yes.
So just to make another comment that, you know,
The second on Charlie?
Charlie seconded it and voted yes. One down. Want to do the second one?
what? Wait. What I just want to say is, that I think we have to have respect for Dennis. I mean, that is his department, right?
Yeah.
And he's making a recommendation, and I think that we have to, I'm not saying exactly that we have to go with it, but I think that.
That's a fair statement.
Yeah, he's just, he's put his heart into that, and I guess he feels confident that someone else will work out better. Well, I hope to hear that somebody else worked out better. Right? Okay, resolution?
So what you're saying is it'd be great if Dennis gave us a report back in 6 months instead of how the winter went. Communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we should ask him for that also, rather than come with the bids and then find out, maybe we could have helped him. Yeah. So so we have a resolution for the acceptance of the bid for the snow removal, sewer and water districts. Whereas 845 has submitted the second lowest responsible bid. And I'd like to make the motion to enter this into the record as though read. So moved.
Second.
With, I'm assuming with the same qualifying information as the
Yes,
previous,
it's-
right?
Second, I changed the language from lowest to second lowest. Is that all right?
What I mean is the same.
The same
Yes.
qualification of the issue with the first bid.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. You got a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Peter. Peter,
All right.
no,
Wait, do we have to do this one too? Wait, we have to do this one too.
you just,
I only
Did-
did this one.
no, we just did two.
No, I,
We just voted on two different.
okay, no, this one's, well, then why is there two?
Because
Which-
one's for the
okay.
sidewalks and the
Okay.
other's for the wastewater treatment plant
Okay,
and
all
pump
right,
stations.
all right, you're good,
Yeah.
I'm good.
And I believe we did them both.
All right,
Okay, first up, I have some recreation request. I have a letter here from Matt Chabarro about ski and snowboard lessons. The pricing for 2023-24 24 season. So this is for ages 8 years and up. The following prices will be in effect for our 2023-24 ski snowboarding program in conjunction with Thunder Ridge. We have the ski and snowboard lessons at Thunder Ridge Ski Area. Lessons only $363 a person. Lessons and lift, $549 per person, and lesson, lift, and rental, $717 per person. And there are no discounts of any kind. So like to make a motion to approve this pricing for ski and snowboard lessons with Thunder Ridge at the rec center. So
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Next, I have a request here for the Putnam Lake Seniors Christmas Party. So the total expenses will be $2,200. The ticket sales and the cost of seniors will be $135. So the net cost to the budget will be $2,065. I'd like to make a motion to approve the $2,065 for the Put Lake Seniors Christmas Party. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
And that will be at Averzano's. That is all I have.
Charles.
Pete, okay?
Yep, almost that. Thank you.
Okay, next we have bond release for property on Vista Lane. And there was a bond posted for $3,540. And the improvements have been made, have now been completed and certified by the town planner. So we have a resolution here to reimburse the owner of the property on Vista Lane in that amount of $3,540. So I'll make a motion that the resolution before us be entered into the record as read. And so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have what would you call this, every fifth quarter, which we get Sterling Environmental Engineering relative to the post-closure monitoring services for the town of town of Patterson's landfill. And that comes up to $5,960. And question I had, what do we do about numbers 5 and 6?
They've already been fixed by our head of building and maintenance.
Oh, okay. So we're just approving 1, 2,
They're
3,
actually
4.
doing the monitoring work.
Okay.
And not
So
the
we have
repair-
excuse me?
and not the repair work.
So we have a resolution before us. To accept the estimate of 5,000, not to include, not to go above $5,960 for the preventive maintenance for the landfill in 2023. I'll make a motion that this resolution be entered into the record as read, and I make a motion to approve it. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next up, we have spoken with our highway department. Obviously, Mary mentioned earlier, we approved an MOA to add an additional person to the highway department. We have some hiring that our acting highway supervisor would like us to take an action on. We have some excellent candidates that he and his staff have interviewed and would like us to consider hiring. So the first is a request to hire Dave Hinch to be the 13th position. That's the one that we approved creating. They believe that Dave would be a fantastic addition. He's worked in Dutchess County for many years in highway and also has a lot of experience in the landscaping and seal coating business. So we have a resolution to approve the hiring of Mr. Hinch. Looking for his name on this. So David Hinch as a full-time MEO. I'll make a motion, we introduce the resolution and ask that it be entered into the record as though read for hiring Mr. Hinch for that position. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And next is a replacement position due to a retirement in the sanitation department. Again, our acting highway superintendent, Mr. Foster, has requested to hire Jonathan Perugini to replace the vacancy left when Tyler Whitcomb was promoted and Frank Grady's retirement. So I will introduce the resolution to hire Mr. Perugini upon the request of Mr. Foster, our acting highway superintendent, and ask that the resolution be entered into the record as though read. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Lastly, we are looking to replace a very outdated, and I love the, Ed, I loved the statement that we are, this small dump truck that you're using from 2013 is living on borrowed time. Probably no more fair statement than that. They have sought out and received bids for a truck that will replace this old. This truck doesn't sound like it owes us anything. A 2023 Ford F-350 gas small dump truck for the amount of $68,789. We actually approved a budget transfer earlier tonight related to that.
That's
And-
$3.
Sorry,
There's a $3 fee in there,
a $3 fee, comptroller.
92.
Okay, plus the $3 fee as mentioned. Make a motion that we approve the purchase of this 2023 Ford F-350 as requested. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have the plow, did you include that?
Say again.
Plow was in the reso.
Yeah. That's part of the approval.
We good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, having approved the benthic maps and bats and the truck. Mary, we need to sign the vouchers for that. While you were doing that. So, this past Saturday, Assemblyman Matt Slater had an induction ceremony for veterans of distinction. And one of our own, the vice commander of the VFW, was inducted into Matt Slater's Hall of Fame for veterans. And I think the town board, it's appropriate for the town board to also recognize Mr. Gonzalez. So I put this proclamation together, which I would like to move, and I will read it into the record. Proclamation honoring Harry Gonzalez. Whereas on November 4th, 2023, Harry Gonzalez was initiated into Assemblyman Matt Slater's Military Hall of Fame. And whereas Harry Gonzalez bravely served in the United States National Guard from 1982 to 2006 before retiring after 25 years of dedicated service. And whereas Harry Gonzalez nobly served with honor and distinction during Operation Iraqi Freedom, where he was awarded several medals, including the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal. And whereas Harry Gonzalez was willing to bravely make the ultimate sacrifice protecting the freedom of our nation and its people. And whereas Harry Gonzalez is a distinguished member of the VFW Post 9257, where he currently serves as Senior Vice Commander. And whereas Harry Gonzalez has proven himself to be an outstanding and valued member of the Patterson community, and whereas the Patterson Town Board wishes to recognize and honor Harry Gonzalez, to thank him for his service to our country and the town of Patterson and its residents, now therefore be it resolved that it is with great honor that the town board of the town of Patterson hereby issues this proclamation on November 8th, 2023, to Harry Gonzalez in recognition of his outstanding service to our community. And we extend our deepest appreciation and gratitude for his service in the United States Army National Guard, defending our nation's freedom and ideals.
Very good.
Nicely done.
All right.
Could make it.
Excuse me?
He couldn't make it.
No, he couldn't. Other business. Any board member have any other business? Right, hearing none, public
Oh,
recognition.
well,
I'm
Very
sorry. Oh, I forgot all about the fire. Mostly
From
because
the,
it's
uh,
not my
Putnam Lake Fire Department.
fault.
Please be advised that the following persons have been accepted as members of the Putnam Lake Fire Department. Joseph Knapp of Lake Shore Drive, Susan Martin of East Branch Road, and Anthony Corrado of Kingsington Court. I'll make a motion the town board approve these three members to the Putnam Lake Fire Department. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public recognition. Any member of the public wish to be heard on any topic, if you would approach the mic, turn it upwards. Go ahead, George.
About a happy note. There was such a public outcry after me not speaking at the last town meeting. Okay, there was only one person, but. All right, I'm gonna try to do this quickly because we have been here for a little bit over an hour. I'm just gonna hit some headlines. If you need any additional information, please go to the pattersonlibrary.org. The name is George Disbrow, Tammany Hall Road, and representing the library. So here we go, deep breath. We have a wonderful museum pass system. We've now added a new museum pass for 2 adults, 2 at a time. Olama State Historic Site. It's in Hudson, New York. Beautiful place. And it's a landscape walking and historic house tour, 250 acres. So we have that. Our Friends group is doing a holiday decoration tag sale on December 6th. By the way, I'm just giving you some stuff. We've got the holiday season coming up. I'm sure we'll hear more about this in November. Medicare 101, Wednesday, the 15th at 6:15 in November. For those people who are entering that portal in your life for Medicare, this will answer a lot of your questions and give you some good information. There's there are 2 movie matinees coming up. My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, happen to have seen that. It was very good. That's Thursday, December 7th at 1. And then the other one, getting ready for the holidays, not until December 20th, but I thought I'd mention it just to whet your appetite. Andre Bocelli, Family Christmas. It's a movie. So we have that going on. We want to just remind the public that we have notary services, open computer help, and we've just launched a new streaming service. Well, we haven't launched it, but we've joined it, called Canopy. Starts with a K. And you can put that into any of your devices. It's a free subscription. All you need is a library card, and it doesn't even have to be from Patterson. It can be the Mid-Hudson library card, anyone. So that's it. And then I have one special one that I saved here. Okay, and this is really for Mr. Cook, but anybody else. We have a holiday concert coming up. The Putnam Chorale Group is coming up. I know that, Charlie, you've enjoyed that in the past. Saturday, December 2nd at 1 p.m. I encourage you all go to our library website to see some of the things that are going on. I've left out a lot of stuff, but somebody will read back in November to remind you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, George. Anyone else?
So for Pablo, Town of Patterson Highway, the 3rd of December will be 20 years with Town of Patterson. Can't believe it. Seeing a lot happen, yeah. So, but I want to start by thanking the board for approving all the hires, the MOAs that you worked with us on to get us a 13th guy. Which I'm not sure if everybody in the public understands that at some point that will be back to a 12, bring it back to a 12. But it fills a gap of a problem that not everybody may be aware of. Last year, it been tough between sanitation and highway with the illnesses we've incurred with 2 employees and loss of obviously Russ Goff, which was huge. And then we've had injuries and some extended illnesses. And highway's been trying to fill in, help sanitation and vice versa, which we've just been so short-handed. coming into winter has been having us looking really tough, and we're doing work now that we're used to having done 3 months ago. So this 13th guy and hirees is huge for us, and it's much appreciated. I mean, going back when I started with Mike Griffin, we've always maintained a really good working relationship with this town board. This town board, obviously for me, has been the longest with CSEA and you guys, and we've appreciated all the help you've given us over the years. It's not always been, we didn't agree on everything, but you guys have been reasonable and fair and never talked down to us, which is greatly appreciated. I also want to congratulate everybody on their wins and hard efforts for the election, and just say thank you for appointing Ed to the position, and then the Republicans for giving him a spot on the ticket, and the Conservatives helping us get through to get Ed down in his career for politics. And for anybody that doesn't know, Ed's had 32 years with the town of Patterson. He started as a young guy and he's put in a lot of effort. He's definitely an asset to the town. So with that, thank you very much, guys.
Phil, I'm glad I did not wear my Jet shirt tonight.
Oh, we got 1 minute. I'll take it. Both didn't look good, Charlie.
So Phil, I just want to add in here that, we have an absolutely outstanding highway and sanitation crew. The guys are conscientious. They care about this town and they show it every day out on the roads. And our roads are some of the best maintained, especially when we have inclement weather. So it's easy to work with the highway department who, is so supportive of the town, and we're happy to help you out any way we can.
I
So
appreciate it.
thank you.
It's very much appreciated. Believe me. Thank you to everybody up there.
Yeah, I just
Thank
want to
you.
echo that as well. I do a lot of traveling, and not only during the summertime or the rest of the year, we have the best roads around. But during storms, I know I come home from work sometimes and I'm traveling far and it's just miserable. Then we get to Patterson and the roads are so much better. So
That's appreciated.
yeah,
This year
we
was
appreciate you
tough.
guys.
There was about a month or two going back about 60 days. We were worried about coming up on this winter, between employees and equipment. We were like, all right, this is going to be a fight, and like I said, with your guys' help, we've cinched up a lot of stuff in a short time to get us back on track. So thank you very much, guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, at this point, we'll open the meeting up to anybody joining us by Zoom. If anybody joining us by Zoom has any comments or questions, if you would unmute and state your name and address for the record.
Yes, it's Peggy Burns. I'm president of Putnam Lake Seniors. I'd just like to make a correction on what you approved tonight. Avisanos, we're not having the Christmas party at Avisanos. Avisanos is catering it at the rec center.
Well, thank you for that correction.
Just because I don't know whether. Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Still good food.
This is very good.
All right, I would just like to remind everybody that this weekend, this Saturday, is Veterans Day. There is a ceremony at the Putnam Lake Monument at 11 o'clock. I hope to see you all there. I know I will see some of you there for sure. But it's a very important day to remember our veterans. So thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
All right.
Thank you.